All right. Hopefully the microphone's working. I think Monday. You can? All right. Perfect. All right. Let's get this going. All right. So, week one in the books. Let's go through our matchups, and I'll get into our favorite part of the sus bus. So, we're on one here. All right, we'll start off with my matchup with Parker. As expected, STL, or Delta S. I guess Parker was STL. Whatever. So let's dive into that. So now let me open up the scoreboard now. What is this? Oh, there we go. Box score. Box score for Parker. Like I said, it is expected. Delta S 117 and 118 to 84. I got 7 touchdowns that game. Tucker Craft, MHJ, BTJ, Bijan, Bucky, Brock Purdy too. All around great game from everyone on my team. We're really pleased with that. Got some nice usage on the bench from Thornton and Dylan Sampson, so that was great to see. With Park's team, Dak Prescott, doing Dak Prescott things, disappointing. JCM had a nice game. He has arrived. Jerome Ford, doing Jerome Ford things. Mecca Buka, the stud. That's, really about it. Everyone else was just kind of in there. That's why he scored 84. So moving right on down the line. So, actually, let's keep him in division, which was Logan and Corey. Logan gets the win 113 to 99. Huge game on Justin Herbert on that Friday night game. CMC with a nice 14 points. J.K. Dobbins had 12. Penn had 14. Outside of those 4 guys, his team did not do good at all. K-Dom had 0. Trump had 6. Cooper Kupp had 1.5. And then from his bench, Charbonnet looked good. But it's the only guy on his bench who looked good. And then for Corey, a big game like Caleb, Javante, and then just a bunch of just like 6-5 or 6 point games from everybody else. Better days are ahead, I'm sure, for neighbors. The Sun God. But Logan moves on to 1-0. Corey moves on to 1-0. We'll go to this game was gross. Tanner and Mike. Tanner went 76-65. Baker Mayfield led the way at 29 points for Tanner. He's the only other player in double digits was Harrison Butker with 11. I think there will be better games for Hampton. Jennings obviously got hurt. Marchese only had 2. That won't happen much often, but Tanner might want to get used to that, especially as Najee Harris ramps up his workload as Myron Hampton dusty for a flex position. And then for Mike, we'll get to Mike, but Mike's in trouble starting the running back there. Touched the ball at one time, fumbled. Jahmyr Gibbs had 5 points, but Nick's sophomore slump. No. Jalen Waddle, the Dolphins look bad. Bill's defense couldn't stop the run at all. What's this? And then obviously Mike has no bench, so he made some moves to fix that. Mike loses. He's 0-1. Tanner looks like he can continue to trend from that. And then I think the other team in that division, the other 2 teams are Tom and Greg. Yeah. So Greg gets the win, 106-90. Greg got a nice game from Jones, real nice game from Zay Flowers, big game, huge game. Kyler Murray had a solid game. Tillman had a nice game. Tyler Loop had 13. And Aaron Rodgers gave him 34 on the bench. But then Tom's team, Tom's one of those guys that's like, is he in trouble? Is he not in trouble? He's got some guys. We'll get to him on the Such Bus segment. He's not on the bus, but we'll talk about him. Tom didn't have a big game. I mean, Garrett Wilson had 15. That was a nice game from him. Cam Little had 16.6. So, if he started 14 points, yeah, would have made a difference. Would have been a closer game to start Penix. But Tom's 0-1 and Greg's 1-0. We'll go on to West Division now, where we got Joey taking on Mason. Joey laid it on him with a 40-point win, pretty much 105-68. Jordan Love had a solid game, beat his projection. Travis Kelce beat his projection. Brees Hall had a huge game. It was awesome. 17.5. Bears defense put up 17.5. Will Riker had 10 at the kicker position. His bench, on the top, he had 7 on the bench, so that's nice. And then for Mason, Barkley, great game. Connor, great game. Trey Benson, 7.5. Everybody else stunk. Xavier Worthy's dead. TJ Hawkinson did a good job blocking. And that's all I have to say about this team. Mason, Scott, Saquon, and Burrow, Connor, but if the receivers aren't scoring, so Joey wins 105-68. Joey's 1-0, and Mason is 1-1. And then other 2 teams in the West Division, Dan with a huge win on Kelly, 30-point win, 130-82. Jalen Hurts had a nice game. Kyron Williams, JSN, C. Lane, Keon Coleman, Brock Bowers all scored double digits. Broncos defense scored 20. Tyron Tracy had 3.5. Dan still scored 130. So it's a great game for Dan. Got to be super happy about the direction his team's going in. And then for Kevin, Lamar Jackson had 33, but Kevin still only put up 81 points. So, I think Kevin's destined for more of these kind of games where Lamar carries the way, and the rest of his team doesn't really do that great. But the rest of his team just isn't that great. But Jalen Warren had 12 points. And now Drake London's banged up, shoulder. The bench had, between the 6 guys on his bench, had a combined 1.9 points. So he's got absolutely 0 bench. We'll talk about Kevin some more. But not looking good for Kevin. So he's 0-1, Dan's 1-0. Finally, the last division we got to go through is the East. Nick versus Matt. Nick's team looked good headed into the week and played good. Looks like ETN is always ETN. Obviously, they're too early. I told you guys the talent was there, but it was all the coaching. So he beats Matt 124-22. Nick had just an average game. Daniels 22 points. Cook had 16. Keon had 13. JD had 11. ETN had 19. Seahawk went for 11. Boswell had that bomb during the game, 15.6. And then Matt's team was like Patrick Mahomes scored 28. And then the only other person that scored double digits was kind of my favorite, 15. Golden wasn't really on the field that much, so that's going to be pretty discouraging for Matt. Roma Dude looked good. Kenneth Walker did not look good. For predicted for 13, ended up finished with 2.4. Charbonnet looked much better than Walker did. And that is truly a split backfield at this point. David Njoku splitting with Harold Fannin, although they kind of use him a fullback, most of the Kyle Juszczyk type. So yeah, Matt's team, it'll be interesting to see how week 2 goes for him, because if Matthew Golden isn't playing much, and Kenneth Walker isn't playing much, slashing his touches, Matt's going to be big trouble. Yeah. So Nick wins 124-82. And then our last game, Shane and Pizzo. Shane thought he lost. He's texting me. He's like, "Told you I'm not the best team. Blah blah blah. I'm crying. All this other stuff. George Kittle gets hurt. He's like, "Oh, I'm done." Dude, you had Chase. You had Josh Allen and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry damn near had 30. Damn near had 200 yards in the first half. Like, those two alone scored more than Mike's team. Josh Allen had 46. Derrick Henry had 31. Come on. That's, team stack. It's okay if one or two of your guys studs don't have a good game. If you continue to top it, so you can afford it if one of those guys don't go off. But yeah, he had those 2 monster games. Puka had a good game. Chuba, Chase Brown had good games. Steelers defense put up a nice line. And then for Pizzo, Drake made him do as well as expected. Devon Chain had a good game. Genti had 10. Jefferson and Debo both got double digits. Zach Ertz scored. Brown had a good game. A lot of weeks Pizzo probably would win. If he started Quentin Johnston, he still would have lost. We would have 121. So yeah, I think definitely encouraging start for Pizzo despite the loss. So yeah, let's get to I think you guys probably all here is some segment. So we're gonna break it up into a little bit. So we're gonna have the sus bus, the bus stop, and walking to the bus stop. So I think on our sus bus, driving the bus is none other than Mike. didn't score many points. There's worries about a sophomore slump with Bo Nix. But even besides that, let's say Bo Nix doesn't have a sophomore slump. Bo Nix is going to need Mike's going to need Nix and Gibbs to combine for 60 points every week just to get him a chance off the bat. Because he's starting. Like, Kincaid's going to go up and down. Young Wade Kuzma to lose his job. Jalen Waddle and Dolphins should not look good. And you can't start Caleb Johnson. He's starting a guy that isn't playing. Also, Mike, you need to drop Jalen Wright. You got a lineup violation. I'm about to text you right now. So Mike's driving. And then Mike goes and spends $97 on 2 free agents, which I don't mind. But I think that's only good if Mike does take some necessary steps after to trade. Because now he does have some decent depth with those 2 guys. He's got good wide receiver depth. He's got 5 good receivers now. So we're going to have to trade from that to upgrade and make his team more competitive. Because at the end of the day, if he trades Gibbs, that's his best asset if he were to sell. If he trades Gibbs right now, he's not going to get the return he would if he were to sell. And Gibbs is going to get you maybe 2, flexy running back 2s. I think a good comparison for a trade would be like with Tanner. I feel like the most Tanner would give would be Pollard and Braylon Allen. But does that make Mike's team that much better than it is right now? No. So probably not worth doing that. I don't know what other teams are offering, but I assume it's something similar. So Mike's driving that thing, and he's sitting right next to him. As a matter of fact, he's on the intercom telling the kids in the back of the bus to sit down. It's Kevin. Kevin's in trouble. I had a feeling Kevin was going to be in trouble. But the Chiefs' backfield looks horrendous. Drake London's got a banged up shoulder. Devontae Smith looks like it's going to continue with his trend from last year, where he's going to have games put up 2 or games put up 2. But the consistency is not going to be there. Stephon Diggs, he looked okay, but not like the dog that he was. Starting Rashad Bateman, I don't think you can start Rashad Bateman. To be honest with you, I think you expect yourself to win. And then Kevin just doesn't have a bench. I thought Kevin, his performance in baseball this year, all that stuff, he's already participating in last place behavior. Now putting Elijah Mitchell on his IR. His bench is, like I said, his bench combined for 1.9 points. It's just, what are you doing? No claims in this week. You don't put Mitchell in the IR, and you don't put any claims. He should be fined for roster negligence, but technically it wasn't. So, but yeah, Kevin is sitting in that passenger seat. Him and Mike might be fighting to see who's driving that thing pretty soon. And then our last person on the sus bus. The last person on the sus bus is going to be Parker. And so I just had to with 17% playoff odds. Judkins is not practicing today. Jerome Ford is an absolute nothing. Could be potentially staying at 0-2 after this week. We'll see. It's nice that you shared your contracts. You do have some good keepers for next year. I'm glad you're thinking ahead. Probably a good idea. Got some really good guys, good contracts. So it's tough. You look at the lineup. Only only one guy generating double digits. He's the quarterback. That's just depressing. So yeah, Parker's on the sus bus. He's got the ops cord. And then at the bus stop, got a couple people at the bus stop that want to get on the bus. First up at the bus stop is Matt. Matt's at the bus stop. He's waiting for it to come through potentially this weekend. Like we talked about, Kenneth Walker didn't look good when he did have the ball. Zach Charbonnet did look good. Zach Charbonnet got the ball more. So looking like a real split. Jonathan Taylor's got a real tough matchup with Denver. Rome Odunze did look good. Matthew Golden definitely some concerns there because he was not on the field that much. Clearly, they are going to run heavy. And they do play Washington, who has a very good secondary. This Thursday night. Marvin Mims, he was a absolute nothing in week one. Again, he's a gadget guy. And then David Montgomery, that backfield. We'll see how that shakes out. They looked just off week one without Ben Johnson, so we'll see if they come out. I'm sure they will. But it's nice to still see him get. I think he had 14 opportunities, so that's good. So yeah, Matt's at the bus stop. Also at the bus stop with Matt is Mason. So Mason's at the bus stop with Tanner. Like I said, TJ Hockenson was pretty much just a blocker this past week. Mason's bench is doo-doo. Trey Benson, I mean, you take away the 50-yard carry he had like 2 points. Starting James Conner, Trey Benson is not going to be a viable season-long option. I know Joe Burrow will probably never score 10 points again. But definitely some concerns there for Mason. So, but that's why he's at the bus stop and he's not on the bus. I'll be honest. It's crazy to be saying this, but going back to our members on the bus, it's a must-win game for every single one of those guys on the bus. Every single one. So the other person at the bus stop is Corey. Corey made a lot of moves. Corey's actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys projected for double digits. So Corey's in a good spot. Like I said, he's got some guys that scored a lot less than they should have. But he's got Caleb, Kamara, Javonte, Malik Neighbors, DeMar Douglas scored. They want to use him in the red zone. Amon-Ra is not going to score 4 points many times. Definitely got to be encouraged by Kyle Pitts' usage. He had 7 catches, which is real nice. His bench is booty, but again, he's got enough guys to overcome that. Who's he play this week? He plays Parker. It's a perfect get right game for him. So that's good. And then guys are headed over to the bus stop. They might be catching it next week after this weekend. They might be at the bus stop. Gonna have Tom. Tom's on his way there. He's still not sure if he wants to get out or not. He might just be kind of halfway there and just turn around. I can foresee this whole quarterback situation for Tom being very frustrating. Who knows? He could start Penix this week, and Penix can go for 12, and Trevor Lawrence go for 26. Vice versa this past week. Jordan Mason did look really good. Sucks that he's still splitting with Jones. Jones obviously is going to be a pass catching guy. Josh Jacobs looked good. Nico, I'm fading. Nico's still a starter, but I'm fading him some because that offensive line is so bad that he's not going to be able to get open defense. DK looked good. David Wilson looked good. Fannin has a nice role. Ted McMillan, another one. I'm fading just a bit because of how bad Bryce Young looked. But Tom should be okay. That's why he's kind of like on his way to the bus. He's probably like, I don't need it. I don't need to go on my bus. I'm fine. So Tom's on his way there. And then I think there's only one other team that's kind of on their way to the bus stop. And it's the only team that I've got listed down that actually won. That's Tanner. Tanner's kind of, him and Tom, they're boys. They went to college together. They're kind of on their way over there. Do we want to ride the bus or not? Or, Tanner had a really good game from Baker. Omarion Hampton should have better games, but also they had Najee in a 12 snap pitch count. So Najee's going to get more involved. Eventually, for Tony Pollard, obviously he could really get defense, so he discarded that great role. Juwan Jennings banged up, but it's not like they were going to him much anyways. Jamar Chase will never score 2 points in the game. Evan Ingram was dinged up. We'll see what shakes out there. Braylon Allen scored a touchdown, run-heavy offense. So yeah, like I said, Tanner's not in trouble. But I can see that there's a potential where, Hampton's not getting 80% of the snaps, and Jennings isn't, doing much. That Tanner could potentially be at the bus stop waiting to get on the bus at some point. But we all know he's the luckiest guy in the league, so that's probably going to happen. So, real quick, we'll look at some of the matchups we have coming up here. For this week, I play the two teams in the winning division. I play Logan this week. Right now, I'm opening up as a 8-point favorite. We've got also in that division, we've got Corey and Logan. Corey's opening up as an 8-point favorite. If I had to make my picks, I'm going to go with myself. I'm going to go with Corey to win that game. Then we'll move on to the East Division. We got Nick versus Pizzo. Nick's a 2-point favorite. That's a good game. It's a nice little matchup. Let's see. Dang, that's tough. That's a good match. It's a really nice match. Pizzo, get Quentin Johnston in there. What are we doing? I think once Pizzo actually puts Johnston in the field, he would actually move in front. So, but I'm gonna rock with Nick to win that game, go to 2-0. Staying in the East, Matt versus Shane. It's tough start for Matt. Shane's projected to win 132 to 105. I'm gonna rock with Shane to win that game. We'll go to the West. We got Kevin and Mason. Perfect opportunity for Mason to get back in the win column. Projected to win 113 to 103. I'm gonna stick with the favorite there and go with Mason. No upsets there. Then we got Dan and Joe. Dan projected to win 122 to 104. Sorry, Joey, but I'm going to Dan. Then we got Mike and Tom. Tom projected to win 111 to 95. I think Mike is in a bad spot, man. He's staring 0-2 in the face, so definitely got to go with pick Tom there to win that game. And then last we got Tanner and Greg. Which let me look at it because it might be Greg's projected to lose 1.85 Hellman. I think this depends on. Cardinals. It's gonna be a close game, but I think Tanner's gonna win that game. I just don't trust Ramondre to do enough against Miami, or Brian Robinson to get enough points in the flex. So I'm gonna go with Tanner to win that game. But that's it. That's it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the live review and the Susbus. Why did you decide to sit in the kitchen? I'm at breakfast. The hotel. So that's it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Good luck this weekend. We got games tomorrow.